and welcome to news around the world from Carnival Radio. I am Joseph Oyukola. Starting the news this evening from Africa. Egyptian authorities have detained dozens of teenage TikTok influencers with millions of followers. Police confirmed multiple arrests, while prosecutors said at least 10 cases of unlawful financial gains are under investigation. Travel bans, asset freezes, and device seizure were also imposed. The charges include money laundering and violating family values. Critics argue that the crackdown reflects a wider state effort to regulate online speech in Egypt, where traditional media is tightly controlled. Many of the teenagers arrested were children during the 2011 Facebook-driven protest that helped people topple President Hosni Mubarak. Moving to Europe, Germany's unemployment rate has surpassed 3 million for the first time in 10 years, according to Labour's office figures released today, Friday. The report showed that 3.02 million people were unemployed in August in seasonally unadjusted terms. The data indicated an increase of 46,000 unemployed persons compared with July. Economists said the development underscored the pressure on the government's major investment plans to deliver quick economic results. Karsten Brizicki, global head of macro at ING, described the figure as a symbolic dress oath that separates strength from weakness in the labor market. He noted that the number carried weight beyond statistics. Why? Inflation rose higher than expected in August, reaching 2.1% from 1.8% in July, according to preliminary data from the Federal Statistics Office. The rise adds to concerns about the country's economic outlook. Emission. Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi met today, Friday, in Tokyo to discuss economic and security ties. The leaders agreed to deepen cooperation as India faces new U.S. tariffs and Japan seeks to counter China's influence. They pledged to strengthen defense in the Indo-Pacific, improve supply chains, and expand collaboration in AI, space, and high-speed rail. Japan announced alongside the US and Australia in the Quad, aim to balance China's growing regional presence. Moving to North America, U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered the cancellation of Secret Service protection for former Vice President Kamala Harris. By law, former Vice Presidents are entitled to 6 months of security after leaving office. Harris' coverage was extended to 1 year until January 2026 by former President Joe Biden. The letter, dated Thursday, states that the termination takes effect September 1, as Harris is scheduled to begin a 15-city book tour in September. For a memo, 107 days, she became the Democratic nominee for 107 days before Trump defeated her at the 2024 election. Moving to Australia. Famed Australian crocodile wrangler Matt Wright has been found guilty of lying to police and pressurizing a hospitalized witness after a vital helicopter crash. The former Netflix star was charged with 3 counts of perverting the course of justice over the crocodile egg-affecting disaster in 2022. A jury today, Friday, returned the guilty verdict for 2 but could not agree on the third. Wright's friend and Outback regular co-star Chris Wilson, who was suspended from the aircraft in a sling, died when it hit the ground. Pilot Sebastian Robinson was also seriously injured. Prosecutors argue Wright had tried to tamper with evidence out of fear of being blamed for the crash. After the last news around the world this evening, 33 Colombian soldiers have been released after being held captive for 3 days in a remote Amazonian village in Govere province. The troops were detained on Monday following crashes with an armed group that left at least 10 people dead. Villagers blocked the roads and prevented the soldiers from leaving, a situation the government of President Gustavo Petro described as a kidnapping. Aris Marim, head of the Ombudsman office, confirmed on Thursday that the soldiers were escorted out of the rural community of Nueva York. The release was secured through negotiation led by government officials, the Ombudsman office, and the United Nations. Marin urged that the community not be stigmatized despite the incident. And that ends Carnival Radio News Around the World. Thank you very much for listening. You can download Carnival Media app from Google Play Store and App iOS. You can also check out our website at www.carnivalmedia.ng. My name remains to see for your color. Good evening and please do well to enjoy the rest of your day.